The industrial clippers hummed to life, their vibration echoing through the packed auditorium. Principal Nigel Blackwood's eyes went wide with terror as 50 leather-clad bikers surrounded the stage, blocking every exit. "Please," he whimpered, bound to the chair at center stage. "This is assault. I'll have you all arrested." Axel Razor Vance stepped into the spotlight, his boots heavy on the wooden platform. In his tattooed hand, he held a single golden braid, severed, ragged, still tied with a pink ribbon. He raised it high so every student, every teacher could see. "Yesterday," his voice boomed through the microphone, cold as winter steel. "This man took scissors to my 10-year-old daughter's hair. Hair she'd been growing for 2 years. Hair she grew to remember her mother, who died of cancer." The auditorium fell silent. Blackwood's carefully styled comb-over, that pathetic arrangement of strands he spent an hour perfecting each morning, began to slip as sweat beaded on his forehead. Axel turned to him with a smile that never reached his eyes. "Today, we're going to teach you about discipline." The biker called Clip stepped forward, snapping open a barber's cape with a theatrical flourish. "Let's start with that ridiculous wig you call hair." But this story begins 48 hours earlier, in a small kitchen that smelled of coffee and hope. The sunrise painted Axel Vance's kitchen in shades of amber and gold, colors that matched his daughter's hair almost perfectly. He stood behind Lily's chair, his massive hands surprisingly gentle as they worked through the waterfall of blonde that cascaded down to her waist. "Ow, Daddy," Lily giggled, squirming. "You pulled." "Sorry, Angel." His rough fingers, scarred from years of motorcycle maintenance and street fights, carefully separated another section. "Your mom made this look so easy." The words hung in the air between them. Your mom, filling the kitchen with her absence. Sarah had been gone 2 years now, taken by a cancer that spread faster than wildfire. Axel could still see her in that hospital bed, bald from chemotherapy, making Lily promise something. "When I'm gone," Sarah had whispered, her voice paper-thin, "you grow your hair long, baby. Long enough for both of us. And Daddy will help you braid it every morning. Won't you, Axel?" He'd promised. Of course he'd promised. Now, every morning at 6:45 a.m. sharp, before Lily caught the school bus, Axel YouTube tutorialed his way through French braids, fishtails, and whatever style Lily requested. His brothers in the Iron Reapers Motorcycle Club, men who'd seen him break bones without flinching, would laugh their asses off if they saw him now, watching tutorial videos and muttering about strand tension. Let them laugh. This was sacred. There. He tied off the end with a pink ribbon, Sarah's favorite color. Perfect. Lily spun in her chair, the braid whipping around. She ran to the mirror by the door, examining his work with the critical eye of a fashion designer. "It's a little bumpy on the left side." "Well, I'm a biker, not a beautician." He grabbed his leather vest from the hook. "You ready? Tank's probably already waiting outside." "Can't you take me today?" Lily's blue eyes, Sarah's eyes, looked up at him hopefully. "Got church this morning, sweetheart. Club business." He knelt down to her level, his knees cracking. At 38, the road miles were adding up. "But you know Tank. He'd die before he let anything happen to you." "I know." She hugged him tight, and Axel breathed in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. "I love you, Daddy. Love you too, Angel. More than motorcycles. More than leather," she teased. "More than everything." He watched from the porch as Tank, 6'5" of pure muscle, helped Lily into his pickup truck, her backpack almost as big as she was. The prospect waved, and Axel waved back. The golden braid bounced as she climbed in. He didn't know it was the last time he'd see it whole. Principal Nigel Blackwood stood in the main corridor of Ashford Preparatory Academy like a general surveying his troops. His Italian leather shoes, $800, worth more than some of these children's parents made in a week, clicked against the polished marble as he patrolled. Everything about Ashford spoke of order, tradition, control. The uniforms were pressed, the walls were beige, the rules were absolute. And Blackwood was the architect of it all. "Mr. Henderson." His voice cracked like a whip. A nervous 7th grader froze. "Your collar is untucked." "Detention." "But sir, I make it 2 detentions for talking back." The boy scurried away, properly cowed. Blackwood smiled. Fear was the foundation of respect, and respect was the foundation of a well-run institution. His eyes swept the hallway, cataloging infractions with the efficiency of a scanner. Untied shoelace, detention. Skirt 2 inches too short, detention. Phone visible in pocket, confiscation and detention. Then he saw her. Lily Vance. The girl was a persistent thorn in his side, a reminder that Ashford's standards were slipping. Her father was some kind of criminal, a motorcycle gang member who had the audacity to drop his daughter off at the gates in full leather regalia. Blackwood had tried to deny her admission, but the previous headmaster had overruled him. Well, he was headmaster now. Lily walked past with her friend Emma, that ridiculous braid swinging behind her like a pendulum of impropriety. Long hair was fine, required, even, for young ladies, but it should be styled appropriately. Restrained. Controlled. Not flowing freely like some hippie at Woodstock. Miss Vance, he called out. Lily stopped, turning slowly. Yes, Principal Blackwood. Your hair. He gestured at the braid with distaste. It's excessively long. Distractingly so. It's in a braid, sir. It's not in my face or... Did I ask for your opinion? His voice dropped to that quiet register that made students tremble. I'm simply noting that such excessive length borders on vanity. Pride comes before a fall, Miss Vance. My mom. Lily started, then stopped. Your mother what? Blackwood raised an eyebrow. He'd read the file. Single-parent household. Mother deceased. Father of questionable employment. The girl was Charity, really, kept on only because she maintained straight A's. Nothing, sir. That's what I thought. He leaned down, his breath mint sharp. One day, Miss Vance, you'll learn that in my school, we trim the weeds before they choke the garden. Dismissed. He watched her hurry away, that golden rope swinging mockingly. Soon, he thought, returning to his office. Soon. It happened during PE class, fourth period. The girls were running laps around the outdoor track, the September sun beating down. Lily's braid, heavy with the morning's careful work, bounced rhythmically against her back. Emma ran beside her, chattering about the upcoming fall festival. I heard they're having a dunk tank this year. We should totally. The pink ribbon snapped. It was a cheap dollar store ribbon, worn thin from 2 weeks of daily use. Lily had been meaning to ask her dad for new ones. But between club business and his second job at the auto shop, she kept forgetting. Now, as the ribbon fluttered to the track, her braid began to unravel. Oh no! Lily grabbed at her hair, trying to hold it together, but physics was against her. The sections her father had so carefully woven came apart, and suddenly her hair was loose, cascading around her shoulders and down her back in waves of gold. It's okay, Emma said quickly, picking up the broken ribbon. Just retie it. Use your scrunchie. But Lily's hands were shaking too badly. She tried to gather all that hair, to twist it back into something manageable, but it kept slipping through her fingers like water. Girls. The PE teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, jogged over. What's the holdup? My braid came undone, and I just tie it in a ponytail for now. You can fix it after class. Lily was still fumbling with her hair when she heard the voice that made every student's blood run cold. What is going on here? Principal Blackwood stood at the edge of the track, his arms crossed. He must have been doing his usual rounds, catching students in minor infractions to fuel his detention quota. Her ribbon broke, sir, Ms. Rodriguez explained. She's just... I can see what she's doing, Ms. Rodriguez. Blackwood walked onto the track, his expensive shoes collecting dust. Or rather, what she's not doing. Miss Vance, how long has your hair been loose? It just happened, sir. I'm trying to. Do you know what you look like right now? His voice was quiet, dangerous. The other students had stopped running, sensing blood in the water. You look like a street urchin. Wild. Unkempt. Undisciplined. It was an accident. There are no accidents, Miss Vance. Only poor planning and poorer priorities. He gestured at her hair as if it were something dirty. This is precisely the kind of vanity I warned you about this morning. Hair so long, so excessive, that you can't even control it during basic physical activity. Emma stepped forward bravely. Sir, the ribbon just broke. It could happen to anyone. Did I address you, Miss Parker? No. Then silence. Ms. Rodriguez tried to intervene. Principal Blackwood, perhaps we could let her go to the bathroom and... No. Blackwood's eyes never left Lily. In fact, I think this is an excellent teaching moment. Miss Vance, come with me. But PE isn't over. Now, Miss Vance. Lily followed him across the field, her loose hair tangling in the breeze, 20 pairs of eyes watching her go. Her heart hammered in her chest. She'd never been in serious trouble before. What was he going to do? Call her dad? Give her detention? She had no idea that in 3 minutes, her life was about to change forever. Blackwood's office was a shrine to himself. Plaques covered the walls. Administrator of the Year 2018, Excellence in Educational Leadership, Distinguished Service Award. His desk was mahogany, his chair was leather, and everything was positioned to make visitors feel small. Sit. He pointed to a wooden chair facing his desk. Lily sat, her hands clenched in her lap. Her hair fell around her like a cloak, still windblown and messy from the track. Blackwood walked to his filing cabinet and pulled open a drawer. When he turned back, he was holding scissors. Not small scissors. Not safety scissors. Heavy-duty office shears, the kind used to cut through cardboard and packaging tape. Sir. Lily's voice came out small. Do you know why long hair was traditionally allowed only for women who were married or of high social standing, Miss Vance? I know, sir. Because it was a privilege. One had to earn the right to such vanity through proper behavior, good breeding, and exemplary conduct. He walked around his desk, the scissors glinting under the fluorescent lights. You have demonstrated none of these qualities. My hair isn't about vanity, Lily said, her voice shaking. I grew it for my mom. She had cancer, and she lost all her hair, and before she died, she asked me to. Your mother is gone. Blackwood's voice was flat, merciless. Using a dead woman as an excuse for violating dress code is perhaps the most pathetic manipulation I've encountered in 30 years of education. I'm not manipulating. I'm telling you the truth. Enough. He grabbed the back of her chair, spinning it to face the mirror that hung on his wall. Lily found herself staring at her own reflection, blonde hair everywhere, blue eyes wide with fear. Blackwood stood behind her, scissors in hand. Please, Lily whispered. Please don't. You should have thought of that before you let your appearance become a distraction. He grabbed a handful of her hair at shoulder length. Consider this a lesson in consequence. The first cut sounded like breaking bone. Snip. A rope of golden hair fell to the floor. No. Lily tried to stand, but Blackwood's hand on her shoulder forced her down. Sit still, or this will be much worse. Snip. 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 He cut with the precision of a butcher, not a stylist. No care for evenness, for style, for anything except punishment. Chunks of hair fell around the chair like dying birds. Tears streamed down Lily's face. That was for my mom. It was for my mom. Your mother would be ashamed, Blackwood said coldly, grabbing another section, of raising such an entitled, undisciplined child. Snip. He cut higher on one side, lower on the other. The back was hacked short, the front left in jagged layers. It wasn't a haircut, it was a mutilation. When he finally stepped back, Lily looked like she'd been attacked by a lawnmower. There. Blackwood set the scissors on his desk, satisfied. Much more appropriate. You may return to class. You monster. Lily sobbed, her hands flying to her butchered hair. Detention for disrespect. 3 days. He opened his office door. And next time you consider letting your appearance run wild, remember this moment. Lily ran from the office, leaving a trail of golden hair behind her. In the hallway, students stared. In the bathroom, Lily locked herself in a stall and cried until she threw up. At 3:15 p.m., when Tank pulled up to get her, she was wearing her hood pulled so tight that only her red, swollen eyes were visible. Lily? What's wrong? She couldn't answer. She just climbed into the truck and curled into a ball. Tank knew better than to push. He drove her home and watched her run inside like something was chasing her. Then he pulled out his phone and called Axel. Boss, we got a problem. Axel's Harley roared into the driveway at 3:47 p.m., gravel spraying under his tires. He'd left church early, leaving his VP to finish the vote on next month's run. Tank's call had been brief but alarming. Something happened to Lily at school. She won't talk. You need to get home. The front door was unlocked. Axel pushed it open, his heart pounding in a way it hadn't since Sarah's diagnosis. Lily. No answer. He found her in her bedroom, curled on her bed with her back to the door, still wearing that damned hood. She was shaking. Angel. Axel sat on the edge of the bed carefully, like approaching a wounded animal. Baby, talk to me. Go away. Not happening. He touched her shoulder gently. Whatever it is, we'll fix it. You can't fix this. Her voice was so broken, so full of anguish. that Axel felt something crack in his chest. In 10 years of fatherhood, he'd heard her cry exactly 3 times. When she fell off her bike at 6, when Sarah died, and now. Let me see. No. Lily Marie Vance. He used her full name, the one reserved for serious moments. Whatever happened, hiding from me won't make it better. Let me see. Slowly, so slowly, Lily turned over. Her face was blotchy from crying, her eyes swollen, almost shut. Axel reached for her hood. She flinched, but didn't stop him. He pulled it back. The world stopped. That beautiful golden braid, the one he'd spent 30 minutes creating that morning, the one that represented 2 years of growing, the one that was Lily's last connection to Sarah, was gone. In its place was a disaster. Chopped, hacked, uneven chunks that stuck out at odd angles. The longest pieces barely touched her shoulders. The shortest were barely 3 inches. Axel's breath left his body in a rush. Who did this? His voice was eerily calm, the kind of calm that preceded violence. Principal Blackwood. Lily's tears started fresh. My ribbon broke in PE and my hair came loose. And he said I looked wild, and he took me to his office, and he just... She couldn't finish. She buried her face in Axel's chest, sobbing. Axel wrapped his arms around her, his mind already miles ahead. He saw everything with crystal clarity. The scissors, that smug bastard's face, Lily's terror, her hair falling like snow. One tear, just one, escaped his eye and slid down his scarred cheek. Then the tear stopped. His jaw set. His eyes went cold. He kissed Lily's forehead. It's going to be okay, Angel. How? How is this okay? Because tomorrow, Principal Blackwood is going to learn what happens when you hurt a Reaper's daughter. At 7 p.m., every member of the Iron Reapers Motorcycle Club sat around the table in their clubhouse. The room smelled of motor oil, leather, and beer, but tonight there was something else in the air. Murder. Axel stood at the head of the table. In the center, he'd placed a single long strand of Lily's hair, tied with that broken pink ribbon. 50 pairs of eyes stared at it. Lily's been growing that hair for 2 years, Axel said quietly. Since Sarah died. It was her promise to her mother. Yesterday, the principal at her school took scissors and cut it off. As punishment for a hair tie breaking. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. He did what? Tank half rose from his chair. He assaulted a 10-year-old girl, Axel continued, his voice deadly calm. Because he didn't like how long her hair was. Cut it off in chunks. Made her watch in a mirror. That's a school principal? Judge, the club's lawyer, looked horrified. He touched a student? Without parent permission, without notification, without reason beyond his own power trip. Clip, the club's barber and a surprisingly gentle giant, picked up the strand of hair carefully. His hands were shaking. Boss, I'll kill him. No. Axel held up a hand. We're not killing anyone. That would make us criminals and put Lily through even more trauma. But we're going to make sure Nigel Blackwood never forgets what he did. How? Someone called from the back. Axel smiled. It was not a nice smile. Clip, you still have your barber's license, right? Yeah, but I don't see. Understanding dawned on Clip's face. Oh. Judge, what's the law on citizens' arrest in this state? The lawyer flipped open his laptop. If a misdemeanor is committed in our presence, we can legally detain the perpetrator until police arrive. But boss, he's not going to commit a crime in front of us. Actually, Axel said slowly, I think he will. Because tomorrow morning, we're going to attend Ashford Preparatory's assembly. All of us. They'll never let us in, Tank pointed out. They will if we donate a generous amount to their scholarship fund. Say $50,000. Judge whistled. That's half our reserve fund. Consider it an investment in education. Axel looked around the table. All in favor of teaching Principal Blackwood about consequences? 50 hands shot up. Not a single abstention. Church is adjourned. Axel stood. Tomorrow, we ride at dawn. The next morning, Ashford Preparatory Academy's auditorium buzzed with 300 students waiting for the weekly assembly. Principal Blackwood stood backstage, adjusting his tie in a mirror, running his fingers through his carefully styled comb-over. What his barber called strategic distribution. He'd spent $400 on hair plugs last year. They hadn't taken well, but with the right product and the right angle, you'd hardly notice the bald spots. Today he was giving his excellence through disciplined speech, his favorite. He had notes about proper behavior, respect for authority, and the importance of following rules. 5 minutes, Mr. Blackwood, his assistant said. Perfect. He smoothed his hair one last time and walked onto the stage. The murmur of student voices filled the auditorium. Teachers sat in the back rows, most of them looking bored. Same speech every month. Blackwood tapped the microphone. Good morning, Ashford Prep. Good morning, Principal Blackwood. The students droned back. Today I want to talk about. The auditorium doors burst open. They didn't open politely. They crashed open, slamming against the walls with a bang that echoed like gunshots. Every head turned. 50 men in leather vests walked in. Not walked, strode. Boots heavy on the carpet, chains clinking, presence overwhelming. The Iron Reaper's patch on their backs made it clear who they were. Dangerous men who lived outside society's normal rules. Students gasped. Some teachers started to stand. But the bikers weren't aggressive. They were polite. Terrifyingly polite. They filed into the rows of seats with military precision, taking up the entire back half of the auditorium. Some smiled at students. One even helped a dropped backpack. At the front of the group, Axel Vance walked down the center aisle, his boots clicking on the floor. Blackwood's face went pale. This is a private assembly. You can't. Actually, Judge called from his seat, holding up a receipt. We can. We just donated $50,000 to your scholarship fund. That makes us honored guests. Security. Blackwood gestured frantically at the two elderly security guards, who took one look at 50 bikers and suddenly became very interested in their radios. Axel reached the stage and climbed the steps. Without asking, he plucked the microphone from Blackwood's hand. Good morning, Ashford Prep. 300 students stared in shocked silence. My name is Axel Vance. Some of you know my daughter Lily. 4th grade, blonde hair, loves reading and horses. He paused. Or rather, she had blonde hair. A long golden braid that she grew for 2 years in memory of her mother, who died of cancer. He reached into his vest and pulled out that severed braid, holding it high so every person in the auditorium could see. Yesterday, your principal took scissors and cut this off her head. Without permission. Without cause. As punishment for a hair tie breaking during PE class. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. He cut it unevenly. He made her watch in a mirror while he destroyed something she loved. And when she cried and told him it was for her dead mother, he said her mother would be ashamed of her. The gasps turned to angry mutters. Even the teachers looked horrified. Blackwood tried to grab the microphone back. This is defamation. Your Tank appeared behind him, all 6'5" of solid muscle, and placed a hand on Blackwood's shoulder. Not violently, just firmly. Blackwood stopped moving. Now, Axel continued calmly, my brothers and I believe in justice. Not revenge, justice. And we believe that punishment should fit the crime. Principal Blackwood wanted to cut my daughter's hair to teach her about discipline. So today, we're going to teach him about discipline. 2 more bikers, Ghost and Wrench, carried a chair onto the stage. A barber's chair, complete with a cape. Blackwood's eyes went wide. You can't. This is assault. I'll have you arrested. Will you? Axel smiled. Judge, is this assault? Not if he consents, Judge called cheerfully. And if he doesn't consent, well, we've already called the police to report the assault of a minor yesterday. They should be here in about 15 minutes. Plenty of time, Axel agreed. He turned to Blackwood, his smile vanishing. You have 2 choices. You can sit in that chair and receive the same haircut you gave my daughter. Administered by a licensed barber, I might add, so it'll actually look decent. Or we can wait for the police, press charges for assault and battery of a minor, and let the courts handle it. You're insane. Maybe. Axel shrugged. But I'm also a father who keeps his promises. And I promised my dying wife I'd protect our daughter. You hurt her. Now you pay. Tank guided Blackwood toward the chair, not roughly, just inevitably. Clip stepped onto the stage, cracking his knuckles. Been a while since I had a client who wasn't willing. Blackwood found himself sitting in the barber's chair before he could fully process what was happening. His mind raced through options, scream, fight, negotiate, but Tank stood behind him like a mountain, and Ghost and Wrench flanked the chair like statues. 300 students watched, phones out, recording everything. This is illegal. Blackwood tried one more time. This is kidnapping, assault, false imprisonment. It's a haircut, Axel said calmly. He turned to the audience. How many of you have had Principal Blackwood criticize your appearance? A forest of hands shot up. How many have been sent home for dress code violations? More hands. How many have felt humiliated, belittled, or targeted by this man? Nearly every hand in the auditorium rose. Axel nodded slowly. See, the thing about bullies is they always pick on people who can't fight back. 10-year-old girls. Teenage kids. People under their authority. He walked to Blackwood's chair. But today, the power dynamic is different. Clip snapped open the barber's cape with a flourish, wrapping it around Blackwood's neck and fastening it tight. Wait. Blackwood's voice cracked. We can discuss this like reasonable adults. You should have thought of that, Axel said coldly, before you made my daughter cry. He nodded to Clip. Make it memorable. Clip walked around the chair, studying Blackwood from all angles like a sculptor examining marble. You know, boss, this comb-over is really something. Must take him an hour every morning. He grabbed a handful of Blackwood's carefully arranged hair, the strands that were swept from one side of his head to the other to hide the bald patches. Such vanity, Clip said, echoing Blackwood's own words to Lily. Such excess. He pulled. The comb-over came apart, revealing Blackwood's shiny scalp underneath. The strategic distribution was, in fact, about 15 strands doing the work of 1,000. The auditorium erupted in laughter. No, Blackwood tried to grab his hair, to rearrange it, but the cape trapped his arms. You can't. Oh, but we can. Clip produced electric clippers from his bag. Professional grade, the kind used in real barbershops. Now, your daughter got a choppy, uneven cut. But I'm a professional. I'm going to give you something much better. He turned on the clippers. The buzzing filled the auditorium like a swarm of angry bees. What are you doing? Blackwood's voice rose to a shriek. Giving you a reverse mohawk, Clip said cheerfully. He placed the clippers at the center of Blackwood's scalp and pushed. A stripe of stubble appeared where carefully arranged hair had been. No. Stop. Please. But Clip didn't stop. He made another pass, then another, shaving a 2-inch wide path straight down the middle of Blackwood's head. Axel walked to the edge of the stage, addressing the students. Principal Blackwood believes that appearance is everything. That hair length determines character. That he has the right to forcibly alter someone's body to match his preferences. He gestured at the man in the chair. Let's see how he likes it. Another stripe vanished under the clippers. Blackwood was crying now, actual tears streaming down his face as his carefully maintained illusion of hair disappeared. Please, I'm sorry. I'll apologize to Lily. I'll resign. Just stop. You'll apologize anyway, Axel said. You'll resign anyway. This. He pointed at the clippers. This is so you never forget. Students were filming, posting, streaming. By lunchtime, this would be on every social media platform. By tomorrow, Blackwood would be the most famous, or infamous, principal in the country. Clip finished the reverse mohawk and stepped back to admire his work. Blackwood looked like he'd lost a fight with a lawnmower, bald stripe down the middle, pathetic wisps on the sides. Actually, Clip said thoughtfully, this looks ridiculous. Let me fix it. Fix it. Hope flickered in Blackwood's eyes. Yeah. Clip smiled. By finishing the job, he clicked the clippers to a shorter guard and started on the sides. Clip worked with the calm efficiency of a professional, which somehow made it worse. If he'd been violent or angry, Blackwood could have played the victim. But Clip was just cutting hair. Humming softly, even. You've got a weird-shaped head, Clip observed, running the clippers over Blackwood's crown. Kind of lumpy. Bet you've never seen it without hair, huh? Please, Blackwood whimpered. He'd given up on dignity. I have a wife. Children. This will destroy my career. Funny. Axel's voice cut through like a knife. My daughter said the same thing yesterday. Please, that's for my mom. Did you stop? Blackwood had no answer. The clippers continued their work, erasing decades of careful styling in minutes. The comb-over fell in sad clumps onto the cape. The few plugs that had taken root stood no chance against professional equipment. There we go, Clip said, finishing the top. Nice and even. But you know what? Your daughter's haircut was bad all around. So, he moved to Blackwood's eyebrows. No, not my. Bzzz. The right eyebrow vanished. Bzzz. The left followed. Blackwood looked like a shocked baby bird, all wide eyes and naked skin. The students' laughter had died down to an uncomfortable silence. This had crossed from funny to genuinely disturbing. But no one left. No one looked away. Axel held up a mirror so Blackwood could see himself. The principal made a sound like a wounded animal. His scalp was completely bare, shining under the auditorium lights. Every imperfection was visible, the age spots, the scars, the weird bumps. Without eyebrows, his face looked alien and exposed. How does it feel? Axel asked quietly. To have someone take away part of your identity without your permission? To be humiliated in front of everyone you know? I'm sorry, Blackwood sobbed. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Too late for sorry. Axel pulled out a black marker from his pocket. But it's not too late for education. He uncapped the marker and, with careful block letters, wrote across Blackwood's forehead. Bully. There. Axel stepped back. Now everyone will know what you are. The word stood out stark and black against Blackwood's pale skin, impossible to miss. You can't. I'll wash it off. It's permanent marker, Judge called helpfully. Industrial grade. Should last about a week with scrubbing. 2 weeks if you're gentle. Clip removed the cape with a flourish, and Ghost and Wrench helped Blackwood to his feet. The principal tried to cover his head with his hands, but there was too much skin and not enough hands. Now, Axel said, his voice echoing through the auditorium, you're going to walk out of here. You're going to see what it's like to face the world after someone forcibly changed your appearance. You're going to feel the stares, the whispers, the humiliation. He leaned in close. And every time you look in a mirror for the next month, you're going to remember a little girl crying in your office. Maybe then you'll understand what you did wrong. Blackwood stumbled toward the stage exit, his hands still trying to cover his head. But Axel caught his arm. One more thing. He handed Blackwood a business card. That's my lawyer's number. We'll be pursuing charges for assault of a minor, criminal and civil, and we'll be recommending your license to practice education be permanently revoked. You've destroyed me, Blackwood whispered. No. Axel's eyes were cold. You destroyed yourself the moment you decided to hurt my daughter. I just made sure everyone could see it. The assembly descended into chaos the moment Blackwood fled the stage. Teachers tried to restore order, but students were on their phones, texting, posting, filming, spreading the footage like wildfire. Axel took the microphone one last time. One more thing, he said, and his voice commanded instant silence. Your principal hurt my daughter because he's a bully who gets off on controlling people weaker than him. Some of you have been his victims too. Some of you have been afraid of him. He looked across the crowd. You don't have to be afraid anymore. People like Blackwood only have power if you give it to them. The moment you stand up, the moment you say no more, they crumble. He held up Lily's severed braid one more time. My daughter didn't deserve what happened to her. But she's going to be okay, because she's strong. Stronger than any bully. And I hope all of you remember that. He set the microphone down and walked off the stage. The Iron Reapers filed out as calmly as they'd entered, though now students patted them on the back, gave them high fives, whispered, thank you. Tank caught up to Axel in the parking lot. Boss, the cops are on their way. Judge wasn't kidding. Good. Axel mounted his Harley. Let them come. We've got nothing to hide. Everything we did was recorded. A licensed barber gave a voluntary haircut to a man who assaulted a child. Voluntary my ass, Tank laughed. He could have chosen to wait for the police, Axel said with a shrug. His choice. The bikes roared to life, and the Iron Reapers rolled out of the parking lot just as 2 police cruisers pulled in. Behind them, Ashford Preparatory Academy would never be the same. Principal Nigel Blackwood sat in the school nurse's office, a cold washcloth pressed to his bare scalp, while 2 police officers took his statement. So let me get this straight, Officer Martinez said, pen hovering over her notepad. A motorcycle gang broke into your assembly, forced you into a chair, and shaved your head? Yes. Blackwood gestured at his bald dome. Isn't it obvious? And you have witnesses? 300 students and 20 teachers. Martinez exchanged a glance with her partner, Officer Chun. Mr. Blackwood, we've already interviewed 6 students and 3 teachers. They all say you sat in that chair voluntarily. What? They're lying. They forced me. No physical restraints. No weapons. And according to the footage, yes, we've seen the videos. They offered you a choice between the haircut and waiting for police to press charges about an incident with a student. Blackwood's face went purple. That was discipline. A school matter. You cut off a 10-year-old's hair without parental consent, Chin said flatly. That's assault on a minor, Mr. Blackwood. The haircut they gave you? That's just a haircut. From a licensed barber, which you accepted instead of facing immediate arrest. I want to press charges against Axel Vance and his entire gang. For what exactly? Martinez closed her notebook. Embarrassing you? Making you feel powerless? Humiliating you in front of people you have authority over. She gave him a long look. Gee, I wonder what that feels like. Blackwood sputtered. This is outrageous. I'm a respected educator. I've been principal here for 15 years. Not anymore, said a new voice. Dr. Eleanor Pritchard, head of the school board, stood in the doorway. Behind her, 3 other board members crowded into the small office. Mr. Blackwood, Pritchard said coldly, you are hereby terminated, effective immediately. Security is packing your office as we speak. You can't, on what grounds? Assault of a minor. Abuse of authority. Creating a hostile environment. And bringing national shame to this institution. She held up her phone, showing a trending Twitter hashtag. Hashtag bully principal. We're already getting calls from the media. This school's reputation will take years to recover. I was maintaining discipline. You were torturing children. Pritchard's voice could have cut glass. We've opened an investigation. Turns out you have over 40 documented complaints from parents in the last 5 years alone. All swept under the rug. All ignored. She dropped a cardboard box on the desk. Clean out your personal items. You have 20 minutes. And if you're smart, you'll settle with the Vance family quietly. Because if this goes to trial, every newspaper in the country will crucify you. Blackwood grabbed the box with shaking hands. The word bully still screamed from his forehead. As he walked through the school for the last time, students lined the hallways. None of them spoke. They just stared at his bald head, his marked forehead, his complete humiliation. Some smiled. Some filmed. None of them were afraid anymore. By the time Blackwood reached his Mercedes, his career was over, his reputation destroyed, and his reflection in the car window showed him exactly what he was. A bully stripped of his power, as bald and exposed as the children he'd terrorized. He drove away and never came back to Ashford Preparatory Academy. 2 weeks later, Lily sat in the leather chair at Chrome Scissors, the most exclusive salon in the city. Axel had called in every favor he had to get her an appointment with Marcus, a celebrity stylist who usually worked with rock stars and actresses. So, Marcus said, running his hands through what remained of Lily's hair, your dad told me what happened, and I told him I'd fix this for free, because anyone who hurts a kid over hair needs to have their license revoked. He met Lily's eyes in the mirror. But I'm not going to give you a boring fix-it cut. I'm going to give you something fierce. Something that says, I'm a warrior, and I survive. Sound good? Lily nodded, her throat tight. Talk to me. What do you like? I don't know. Lily touched her choppy hair. I always just had it long. Well, long is beautiful. But you know what else is beautiful? Short hair that's intentional. Punk. Edgy. Cool. He grabbed a tablet and showed her photos. What about this? We call it a pixie cut. We can add some color if you want, maybe some blonde highlights. Keep that golden vibe. Lily studied the photos. Girls with short, spiky hair that looked confident. Strong. Nothing like the victim's haircut Blackwood had given her. Okay, she whispered. Let's do it. Marcus went to work. In the waiting area, Axel sat with Tank, watching through the glass. His daughter's face was nervous at first, but as Marcus cut and shaped, she started to smile. She's going to be fine, Tank said. I know. Axel's jaw was tight. But that bastard still stole something from her. Yeah, but you stole something from him too. His dignity. His job. His hair. Tank grinned. Heard he's working at a call center now. Phone sales. Can't get hired anywhere in education. Good. 90 minutes later, Marcus spun Lily's chair to face the mirror. The girl looking back was different. Her hair was short, angled, with subtle golden highlights that caught the light. It was sophisticated. Modern. Nothing like the long braid, but nothing like Blackwood's hack job either. It was hers. What do you think? Marcus asked. Lily touched her hair tentatively, then smiled. A real smile, the first one in 2 weeks. I think Mom would love it. Axel paid Marcus triple his usual rate despite his protests, and they walked out into the sunshine. Dad, Lily slipped her hand into his. Thanks for, standing up for me. Always, Angel. He squeezed her hand. No one hurts my girl and gets away with it. They climbed onto his Harley, Lily's favorite thing in the world, and rode home with the wind in her new, short hair. Behind them, somewhere in a cramped call center, Nigel Blackwood stared at his computer screen, his bald head still visible despite 2 weeks of desperate hat-wearing. Every bathroom break, he saw that word in the mirror, faded but still legible, bully. He'd never forget. And that was exactly the point.